Salvation Army apron.
How much you want to bet she collects more money than any of the others?
Very profitable.
NBC Nightly News is next.
Thanks for watching the area's #1 Saturday night news. Northwest News Channel 8, where the news comes first.
Surrender. 1,000 Taliban fighters give themselves up, and one of the leaders switches sides. But thousands more vow to fight on, while bin Laden remains at large.
We have a long, long way to go before we finish this.
The view under Ground Zero in New York City. And the clue which could help explain why the tail fell off a jumbo jet.
Unfortunately, can be damaged seriously on the interior layers, but the exterior layers can be totally intact.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News, reported by John Siegenthaler.
Good evening, everyone. Another sign tonight that the U.S. bombing campaign is taking a toll. 1,000 Taliban soldiers surrendered today in northern Afghanistan, and one of their leaders switched sides. It happened just outside Kunduz, the last Taliban stronghold in the north, a city that is still not under the control of the Northern Alliance because hundreds, possibly thousands of foreign fighters and al-Qaeda members are still refusing to surrender. We begin our coverage with NBC's Nora O'Donnell at the Pentagon. Nora?
Good evening, John. Tonight, even as there are massive Taliban defections, U.S. officials predict a bloodbath, saying that fighters still inside Kunduz will have to be taken out by force.
What had been a trickle became a flood today. Troops under siege in Kunduz finally gave up and surrendered, leaving in droves. This Taliban fighter said, "We were surrounded and the Americans were bombing us, so what else could we do?" Some Afghan Taliban were greeted warmly and switched sides to fight with the Northern Alliance. But hundreds of foreign fighters loyal to Osama bin Laden were taken as prisoners of war. One appeared unfazed.
It's no problem. All is fair in love and war.
But another foreign fighter exploded a grenade, killing himself and 2 others. A Northern Alliance general said thousands more fighters are still inside Kunduz and have vowed to fight to the death. But Osama bin Laden is not among them. The search for him is concentrating southeast of Kunduz, in the hills outside Jalalabad, where Taliban troops are still massed and where there are unconfirmed reports of recent visits by bin Laden. U.S. airstrikes continue, assisted by U.S. Special Forces on the ground. U.S. officials say 1,500 U.S. Marines, now in the Arabian Sea, could soon land in southern Afghanistan to set up a temporary base, placing a sizable U.S. force on the ground to intensify the hunt for bin Laden.
We have a long, long way to go before we finish this.
Tonight, sources tell NBC News more special operations forces, hundreds more, are now nearby in Pakistan, ready to go into Afghanistan. John?
NBC's Nora O'Donnell at the Pentagon. Nora, thank you. In Afghanistan's capital, there is no fighting, but that does not mean that all is well there or that anyone knows what lies ahead. NBC's Tom Aspel has our report.
In Kabul today, a rich Afghan decided to give food to the poor, most of whom fast from dawn until sunset during this Muslim holy month of Ramadan. But the food ran out quickly, and suddenly there was a riot. Women pushed past the guard and his rubber truncheon, ignored his machine gun, and refused to leave until they all got some money to buy food for their families. But what's going on here? Kabul market is full of food, fruit and vegetables, all kinds of spices, rice and bread, and freshly killed meat. The trouble is, prices have doubled in 11 days. $1 American is worth 40,000 Afghanis. The Northern Alliance are suddenly in charge here, and they're the only ones getting paid. They've been fighting among themselves and against the local Pashtun for years. Can their leaders now sit down and work together?
I think they have learned lessons from these bad 25 years, and I am sure they will join together to rebuild their destroyed country.
A sign of the times. Just west of Kabul, Northern Alliance troops have just finished fighting a turf war with a local Pashtun warlord. But in the end, like many times before, money changed hands and a peace deal was purchased. The same tactic may be used in the upcoming Afghan peace talks in Germany next week. The West will try to force the competing Afghan factions toward compromise, and money is bound to be part of it. Tom Aspel, NBC News, Kabul.
How the war on terror is being waged overseas and on the home front is the topic tomorrow on NBC's Meet the Press. Democratic Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont and Republican Senator Richard Shelby of Alabama are among Tim Russert's guests. With anthrax investigations still in progress and work continuing at Ground Zero in New York, there was fresh evidence today of just how tight airport security has become. Here's NBC's Virginia Cha.
America on alert. Travel disrupted at the Memphis airport because a security worker couldn't understand what a passenger with an accent was saying. Seattle's airport shut down for a time, too, because of a malfunctioning metal detector. In rural Oxford, Connecticut today, family and friends attend a memorial service for Oda Lee Lundgren, the latest anthrax victim.
She was a wonderful, kind person.
Initial tests of her home and 2 nearby postal facilities have come back negative. Taken. As far down as 6 stories in an area below the Twin Towers, evacuated before the towers collapsed. Here, a bar sits virtually untouched near a train station once used by thousands of commuters.
So right there you got about 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 floors, which were 14 foot apart, over 70 feet of floor, compacted down to about 3 feet.
Freezing time in the process. Virginia Cha, NBC News, New York.
3 New Bedford, Massachusetts high school students were arrested this morning on conspiracy charges, accused of planning mass murders and then suicide at their school. Weapons, explosives, and bomb-making instructions were reportedly seized when the 3 were arrested. Earlier in the month-long investigation, police say they recovered bomb parts. Now to the investigation into why the tail fell off an American Airlines jumbo jet nearly 2 weeks ago. 265 people died when Flight 587 crashed shortly after taking off from New York's Kennedy Airport. NBC's Robert Hager has our report.
Poring over bits of wreckage like detectives at the scene of a crime, NTSB investigators have found a small clue. It's the shape of one particular tear at the base of the plane's tail. And it could be significant in the long, painstaking job of finding out what caused this tragedy.
It's a huge task. There's no question about it. It's a complex accident. It's a real puzzle. This one's not easy.
Investigators know that after the plane passed through mild turbulence from another plane in front, it suddenly began to swing wildly back and forth, breaking off the tail and dooming the plane. But they're still puzzling over why it broke. All 6 points where the tail is fastened to the fuselage failed, but 5 came apart in a more or less straight tear. Only the one broke differently, around a hole where a bolt goes through, and accompanied by what looks like some cracking in the material. Could there have been a hidden weakness there that caused it to give way first, leading to the other breaks?
Adding to concerns, the fact that the plane's tail is made not of traditional aluminum, but of new composite materials now being used on more and more planes. Composites are composed of tiny carbon threads and glued together in layers, somewhat like a sandwich.
But if a composite weakens and the sandwich starts to come apart deep inside, there's a problem.
Unfortunately, can be damaged seriously on the interior layers, but the exterior layers can be totally intact so that an inspector looking at it from the outside wouldn't see that there's any damage.
The plane that crashed, seen here before the accident, had been shaken severely by turbulence 8 years ago, bad enough to injure 47 passengers. No damage was visible in repeated inspections later. But now investigators will look again under powerful microscopes. With more than 400 Airbus 300s still flying and thousands of other planes now made partly of composites, it's a search with broad implications for air travelers everywhere. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
When NBC Nightly News continues, deadly weather down south.
Happy holidays from all of the great gifts at Office Depot. Office Depot, proud sponsor of the 2002 U.S. Olympic team.
What's as gentle as Senecot natural vegetable laxatives? With 100% natural Senna, Senecot tablets offer overnight relief from occasional constipation gently. Senecot works gently, works overnight.
At Bank of America, we really wanted to participate in the Olympic Winter Games. But in the end, we decided to support the real athletes and stick to the things we do best, like defending your money with a leader in photo security check cards and credit cards.
It's time to get comfortable. Time to welcome your family home to the comfort of York. Time to enjoy the dependability and innovative features of a gas furnace or heat pump from York. And through December 15th, you can save on selected York home comfort systems with up to $300 cash back. Or take advantage of special financing offers. York, because now it's time to get comfortable. Call 1-800-910-YORK for the dealer nearest you.
Folgers Decaf. Really good coffee.
Look at all these wedding gifts. Whoa. What's for lunch?
Chicken stars.
Condensed soup? I used to eat that too. And then I learned how to tie my shoelaces. You're an adult now. There's a better tasting soup. Progresso Chicken Noodle has tender pieces of all white meat chicken and bigger slices of hearty vegetables with just the right seasonings. See the difference?
This is better.
See? Now, about this glass.
It's time to go to the better taste of Progresso.
Heavy weather, thunderstorms, and tornadoes swept across the lower Mississippi River Valley today, causing at least 8 deaths. The weather system stretching all the way to the Great Lakes. One of the deaths was in Madison, Mississippi, in the central part of the state. 21 were hurt there, and dozens of homes were damaged. Now to the economic troubles of the American South. Tens of thousands of jobs have disappeared in recent months. Here's NBC's Frederica Whitfield.
Signs of hard times in the South. Flags lowered to half staff outside Mobile, Alabama's International Papers Mill. On the day this 70-year-old company shut down for good. 1,200 people laid off.
It's sad, but I think it's something the company had to do, so we just have to live with it.
Living through plant shutdowns and company layoffs are becoming all too common in the interior South. In Fort Smith, Arkansas, baby furniture maker Costco closes its doors after 59 years in business. In Lawndale, North Carolina, 112-year-old knit fabric maker, the Cleveland Mills Company, shuts down. 200 without jobs. No more bets. And just last month, hard luck hit Gulf Coast Casino Beau Rivage. 200 employees, 11% of its workforce, laid off. Managers believe an already soft economy took another hit after the September 11th attack on America. From Alabama to Georgia and North Carolina, unemployment rates on the rise this year, evidence of the worst economic downturn the South has experienced in nearly 2 decades, according to analysts.
The problem in the South today is that we can't compete internationally, and the international competition is just starting to push us out.
Case in point, Vanity Fair. makers of women's lingerie, which recently laid off 500 employees at its Atmore, Alabama plant, set to close this spring. This town's largest employer will resume production, but overseas, where labor is cheaper. Teresa Hadley worked at Vanity Fair nearly 12 years.
It's going to be hard, but I'll find something else.
Possibly a challenge, particularly in areas which in recent years got economic boosts when manufacturers like Lucent Technologies were lured to the South. Last August, the Norcross, Georgia office laid off 450 workers. Companies like Goodyear Tire and Rubber are cutting back too. This plant in Gadsden, Alabama, has let 200 workers go, and many now worry about settling for lower-paying jobs.
You can't replace a job like this right now.
The focus in parts of the South now, finding ways to rebuild lives and communities so the region doesn't become America's new Rust Belt. Frederica Whitfield, NBC News, Atlanta.
After a period of relative quiet, the Middle East has again exploded into violence. It comes at an especially delicate moment. NBC's John Palmer joins us from the White House now. John?
Evening, John. The timing could not have been worse, according to one administration official worried that the latest killings could trigger a new round of violence, just as 2 U.S. peace envoys are ready to head to the Middle East tomorrow. Thousands of Palestinians vowing revenge marched in the funeral procession for the Hamas military commander, 34-year-old Mahmoud Abu Hanoud, described by Israeli officials as a professional terrorist. The crowd chanted, "Sharon, revenge is coming," a reference to Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon and his policy of assassinating those Israel considers terrorists.
It's premeditated killing. It's assassination at its worst.
Abu Hanoud and 2 other Palestinian activists were killed when their van was hit by Israeli helicopter gunships.
By taking him out, we have saved many lives, both Israeli and Palestinians.
Abu Hanoud was arrested by Palestinian police last year at Israel's insistence, but later went free. His killing follows the deaths Thursday of 5 Palestinian schoolboys in the Gaza Strip, the victims of a booby-trap bomb that Israel says it planted in a residential area sometimes used by Palestinian gunmen. And tonight, more killing. 1 Israeli died and 2 were wounded in a Palestinian mortar attack. This new level of violence has prompted concerns that the International Coalition Against Terrorism, built with the help of Arab and Muslim countries, could be endangered.
What this does, in effect, is weaken the coalition that we've put together and makes it more difficult for the United States to carry on that war on terrorism.
Tonight, administration officials say the U.S. peace envoys will go to the Middle East as scheduled, their mission more difficult and more important than ever. Back to you.
NBC's John Palmer at the White House. John, thank you. When we continue, taking terrorists to court.
Used to be, I could set fire to the keyboard. But recently, it felt like my arthritis was choosing the notes. I thought my jazz days were numbered. But my doctor said no way. For minor arthritis, you've got to keep those joints moving. And he recommended Advil to make it easier. It's strong enough to let me control the pain, and Advil is gentle on my stomach. Hear that? That's me playing again.
Take Advil and take control.
Why do I eat?
Healthy choice sesame chicken.
Because it tastes great.
Because my body needs...
My body needs balanced nutrition. Why do I eat healthy choice?
That's why.
I ate Quaker oatmeal for 30 days. It actually works to remove cholesterol from your body, knocks it right out. Helped me drop 13 points. That's quite a break. Quaker oatmeal warms you heart and soul.
How many 1-liter bottles would you have to buy to equal the amount of water you get from one pure faucet mount? About 378. Pure faucet mount filters. Pure water made easy.
I'm every man.
And every woman who ever suffered from frequent, persistent heartburn.
If you've treated your heartburn and changed your diet, but it comes back 2 or more days a week, then you may know about the burning pain of acid reflux disease.
But there's something about acid reflux that I didn't know.
Over time, that acid churning up can wear away the lining of your esophagus.
I didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't.
But today, there's a purple pill called Nexium. It's from the makers of Prilosec. Just one prescription Nexium a day gives many people complete resolution of heartburn symptoms.
That could mean complete heartburn relief.
And importantly, Nexium is also proven to heal erosions in the esophagus caused by acid reflux. Only a doctor can determine if you have this damage. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium and Prilosec are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. So talk to your doctor and call this number for more information and for a free trial certificate for Nexium.
Relieve the heartburn, heal the damage. It's possible with today's purple pill called Nexium.
In focus this evening, hitting terrorists in their bank accounts. That's what the parents of an airman killed in a bombing 5 years ago are trying to do. Renee Ferguson has our report.
Khobar Towers, military housing in Saudi Arabia for Allied warriors who patrol the skies over Iraq, was blown apart by a truck bomb in 1996. 19 U.S. Air Force service members were killed in that terrorist attack. Fran and Gary Heiser lost their only child, Air Force Master Sergeant Michael Heiser.
We all had big plans, and he did too. And then one day it's gone. There's no weddings, there's no grandkids.
Just a flag-draped coffin and a president's declaration.
The cowards who committed this murderous act must not go unpunished.
At first, the Heisers had faith that government agents would punish the terrorists.
Within a week or two, there's all other kind of news on, and that's forgotten. And that's the problem. The American people forget.
Frustrated, the Heisers decided to go after the terrorists themselves in court.
They don't care about human life, but they do care about money.
They sued the Iranian government and Osama bin Laden. Intelligence sources believe bin Laden was behind the Khobar Towers attack.
This is deep pockets.
Yeah.
You know, he's a company within himself. Somebody has to pay for this. It's not going to make it right, but somebody needs to pay.
A lesson the Heisers learned from Robin Higgins. Her husband, Marine Colonel William Rich Higgins, was abducted in Beirut by Iranian-backed terrorists in 1988. This chilling tape of him was released 2 months later.
The withdrawal of Israeli forces.
Now, declassified State Department documents tell how Higgins attempted to escape, was recaptured, and was most likely tortured to death. Seeking justice, Robin Higgins went to court, suing Iran and the terrorist organizations it sponsored.
It's not your typical, let's sue the person who's responsible for these awful acts.
Former federal prosecutor John McDermott took what seemed a hopeless case against terrorism.
It is to sue the governments who sponsored it, who gave them shelter, who gave them money, the support, so that this could happen.
America doesn't have diplomatic relations with Iran, but Switzerland does. And so the summons was served with the help of the Swiss government. Iran didn't respond, so Higgins won by default, $55 million for her husband's wrongful death at the hands of terrorists.
He was murdered by these people who are supported by the government of Iran. I wanted him to have his day in court.
Congress gave her a check for $55 million, taken out of frozen Iranian assets sitting in the U.S. Treasury since the 70s.
It's a way of saying, this is the way you conducted your foreign policy for the last 20 years, you bastards, and we know it. And you're not going to do it again because it's going to be very expensive for you to do it.
The personal war on terrorism has netted millions of dollars for at least 8 American families, paving the way, perhaps, for those who lost loved ones on September 11th. Renee Ferguson, NBC News.
When NBC Nightly News continues in a moment, how they handle hungry bears in New Mexico.
You're short of breath. There's pain in your chest. You may be having a heart attack. Now what do? Call an ambulance? Good. And take Bear Aspirin. It's now been proven that aspirin can do more than help prevent second heart attacks. Now Bear may actually help stop you from dying if you take it during a heart attack. Talk to your doctor now. Do you know where your Bear is? Bear. Take it for pain. Take it for life.
What's as gentle as Senecot natural vegetable laxatives? With 100% natural Senna, Senecot tablets offer overnight relief from occasional constipation gently. Senecot works gently, works overnight.
A
Over the years, I've learned that when something works, you stick with it. There you go. After bypass surgery a few years ago, I needed to lower my cholesterol. My doctor told me about Zocor. He said Zocor, along with a healthy diet and exercise, could really lower my cholesterol. Okay, let's do it again. Taking Zocor every day has kept my cholesterol where it should be and significantly reduces the risk of heart attack among people with high cholesterol and heart disease. That's something to feel good about.
Zocor is a prescription medication and is not for everyone, including women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant, or people with liver problems. Your doctor may do blood tests to check for liver problems because serious side effects can result. Tell your doctor about any muscle pain or weakness you experience and about any medicines you are taking.
Good job! When diet and exercise aren't enough, ask your doctor about Zocor. Take care of yourself. It's your future. Be there.
Happy holidays from all of the great gifts at Office Depot. Office Depot, proud sponsor of the 2002 U.S. Olympic team.
Sunday, wartime justice. Military courts for accused terrorists. Is it going too far? Plus, the latest on the war. If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
5 nights for America's families. NBC Nightly News next week.
Finally, what to do when hundreds of black bears decide they would rather spend time in your town than in the woods. NBC's Jim Cummins reports on what the last few months have been like in a small town in New Mexico.
A year like none other. Hungry black bears invading small cities and towns near the mountains in New Mexico. Hundreds of bears in alleys, on patios, in trees. Because of the ongoing drought, there was not much to eat in the mountains, so the 400-pound animals came into town looking for food. Game Warden Joanna Lackey says at one point her office was getting about 100 bear calls a day.
This year's situation is absolutely unprecedented. It's 4 or 5 times worse than our worst year 4 or 5 years ago.
Especially in the small town of Raton.
We seen 2 bears in our alley last night, just down the street.
There's a mama and a baby.
Central Dispatch, Mandy.
Just look at the number of bear calls to the Raton Police Department in the month of August alone.
We have bears in virtually every backyard in town this year.
The bears did not produce panic here. Even this year, many of the calls police responded to became rescue missions, where a bear at a fruit tree was shot with a tranquilizer gun. Later, the animals are set free on the edge of town. This year, it seems everybody in Raton had a bear story to tell.
We live in an area that we typically have a bear every night around our house, but we just stay inside.
The big fear, bears coming into a house for food.
These are bear marks. You can see just tracks, front paw marks where he's stood up at least on the side of the house and a little bit on the window and at least sniffed or looked in the window there to see what he could see. And
93-year-old Adelia Trujillo was killed by a bear she confronted in her kitchen, the first such death in 100 years in New Mexico. So experts say the short-term problem is bears invading towns in the hunt for food. But the long-term problem is this: the bear was here first, and people are continuously encroaching on the bear's territory year after year. In the past month, the bears have been returning to their mountain dens to hibernate, much later than usual. State officials fear if the drought persists next year, so will the bear problem in small towns all over New Mexico. Jim Cummins, NBC News, Albuquerque.
And that is NBC Nightly News for this Saturday. Thanks for watching. I'm John Siegenthaler in New York, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow night.